Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Boys in Motion podcast. We're your hosts, Andrew, Brian, and Tyler, here to break down the tips and strategies you need to excel in endurance sports. This is episode 18, and today we're going to dive into everything about running shoes and building out a running shoe rotation for endurance training. If you've ever wondered how to pick the right running shoes and why having a running shoe rotation matters, this episode is for you.
You know I'm an absolute shoe menace. I'm so excited to dive into today's episode. You know what they say. If the shoe fits, buy another one. Let's get into it.
I've lived by the opposite of that mantra. I think I have maybe 4 shoes total in the rotation, and I still own the trusty pair of shoes that I started my running journey with, and I ran my first half marathon and did the whole training block with that pair of shoes. I literally ran in them yesterday. So, yeah, I've realized some of my inventories that at the end of their life, they're worn out, flat soles, worn out cushioning, and I think it's time that I find a new pair. So the reason I'm here is to kind of tap the credit card, start finding a few purchases because, hey, it's race week this week and I need to make sure my inventories are up.
All right. So, for those that are listening that are in a similar situation to Brian and are about to maybe go online, look for a pair of shoes, or go to your local running shop to add a new shoe to your rotation, you're going to step into the running shoe store and it might be a little bit overwhelming because of all of the shoe marketing, shoe science. There's lots of different shoes out there, is what I'm trying to say. So, let's just dive in to the different types of shoes and why you might pick one over the other in different scenarios. And let's start with the trusty daily trainer. And this is the shoe that is designed for just regular training, day in and day out training. Generally, there's nothing too fancy about this shoe. It has a good balance of cushioning and support so that it can be used over various distances. And it's really designed to be used as kind of the Swiss Army knife of shoes for most of your training runs, including easy and moderate paces. Tyler, what are a couple of your trusty daily trainers that you like that get you through those big Ironman blocks?
Well, some nice daily trainers. I always got to make sure they're near the door. Daily trainers, I keep them close to the door, put them on quick. In an emergency, you're in a pinch, you got to put them on, you got to go for a run. The other ones, sometimes you keep them in your closet, you keep them hidden from all the others, and you take them out as a per need basis. But yeah, couple nice MVPs on the daily trainer list. I like some nice the Triumphs, the Saucony Triumphs. I like a lot. I've been ripping those up quite a bit. We've got some nice New Balance. The fuel cells are nice as well. Nice daily trainer shoe, response well, but also has enough cushion to get you through those longer miles. We also have, you got to go to the Nike Pegasus 40. Those are really nice as well. And I could go on all day about some nice shoes that I kind of want to buy another pair the more we're talking about it. So
I have like pretty much all my shoes minus my race shoes seem to be daily trainers because I don't have enough in the rotation. But I do love my Saucony Canberras. I've gone through a few pair of those. They're very, very, very nice. But the first pair I got was the fuel cells. They're not the Rebels, but actually the Propels. And they were a good shoe to start running in.
And next on the list is the almighty long run shoe. This shoe, compared to that daily trainer, is going to have a little bit more cushioning to help you have a little bit more comfort over those long Sunday mornings. Generally, you'll have a little bit more durability to withstand the higher mileage you're putting on it, since generally you'll be going out for those 15 to 30 kilometer runs for your long runs. It needs to be able to endure that extra pounding. So it just gives that extra support to reduce fatigue when you're out on the long run. And my honorable mention here that I really like and that has been a workhorse for me is the Asics Nova Blast. That is one of my favorite long run shoe. The things I like about it is it does have a lot of cushion on it. So my legs at kilometer 30 still feeling just as fresh as kilometer 1. But what I like about the Nova Blast is they have that nice little bounce. I find some long run shoes are a little bit more firm, where I find I just describe them as the marshmallow shoes, and I like that feeling for the long run shoe.
That's exactly what I was thinking about when you said long run shoe. You got to think about that marshmallow feel, the nice cloud feel, or you're on pillows. I always call the long run shoe my pillow shoe. It's just you you deal with the nice support on the heel. You have the support throughout, and like you said, for the longer kilometers, you really need that cushion.
Yeah, it's definitely fair. I think one thing to balance with that cushion is making sure that for your long run shoe, you have a very sturdy, durable sole, something with rubber rather than just direct foam. Because you're putting so many miles on your long run shoe, they will wear out faster just because you end up doing more on them. So that's just something to keep in mind. I know I really, really enjoy running in my Saucony Converas, and they have a decent amount of rubber right where my foot seems to wear. So I can use them as a long run shoe as well. And yeah, it's very, very helpful. I don't need to burn through so many shoes that are just getting shredded at the bottom.
The other thing I like to do with my long run shoes is from my daily trainers, I will half size. Generally, having a little bit more room in those long run shoes, just with swelling over doing those long runs, can be nice. So I just find that is a little bit comfortable. But this is where going to that local running shop is great, where you can actually try on the shoes, because each different, even though maybe you're a size 10 normally, each different manufacturer is going to kind of have a different size 10. Try out regular width. D, I think, is the larger width. So test that out and see what works for you.
Yeah, that's a good point because also some different, like you said, the different brands have a different fit. Like I know for a fact, Saucony, I'm a 10 and a half, and then I go to Hoka's 10 and a half are a little bit too narrow and too tight on the toes. So an 11 fits better on the foot. Also, when you're doing some winter running, I found sizing up as well because you're wearing those thicker socks. Sometimes you're wearing that wool. The thicker sock will obviously take room up in the shoe. So that's extra half size up for your trail shoes or your winter shoes. Also a good plan.
For sure. Yeah, I agree. Now, on to some of my favorite type of shoes is the speed work shoe. This is one of the shoes that I enjoy the most in my rotation. And these are shoes that are lightweight, responsive, and designed for quick, high intensity workouts. So we've talked about VO2 max intervals in the past. This is the shoe you want for your VO2 max intervals. They might have a slightly firmer midsole for better contact and propulsion from the ground. And yeah, like I say, this is perfect for interval training, your tempo runs, and even some races. If you aren't somebody who owns a pair of carbon plated shoes, your speed work shoes would also be those that you race in. Now, this is an important thing. I personally don't do my speed work all the time in carbon plated race shoes. And a shoe that I've loved doing these workouts in is the Hoka Mach 5. And it's in the name there. That's just pure speed, the Mach 5.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good alternate for the non-carbon plated shoe. There's also those nylon plated shoes that they came out with as kind of an in between, and also a transition shoe to getting your foot and your biomechanics used to that carbon plate. So you could really take that next step into going to, your daily trainers into those mocks, and then you could do a nylon plate like the Saucony Speeds, any variation of those ones, and then you get into the mumbo jumbo, the good stuff. I'll let Speedy Boy himself talk us through the race shoe strategy.
Yeah, this is my favorite category without a doubt. And we've talked about this in previous episodes, that this is one of the things that is my kind of reward for putting so much work into these races and events. And that is the race shoe. These shoes will have a lot of the same qualities as those speedwork shoes. And often they are the same shoes for some people, depending on your budget, but potentially just a fresh pair of those shoes. I know a lot of people will use a certain race shoe, let's say Asics Metaspeed. They will take one pair, just run it into the ground during training, and then have that fresh pair that they will use for racing. And that's a great strategy if you have the money to drop on two super shoes. But if you want to reserve those dollars for that special day and want to have that nice fresh pair of super shoes, this is where the Vaporflies, the Alpha Flies, the Adios Pro will come out. And there's, depending on the kind of race, there's different kind of shoes, but a lot of these can kind of do everything from kind of the 5K to marathon distance. And then if you're doing shorter than that, often you'll just be in race flats, which are generally less fancy because weight is king in that category.
So while we're on the topic, something that I've had people ask is, why is there a need for carbon plated shoes? What is the purpose of carbon plated shoes, and why are they so expensive?
Yeah, I think the big benefit of the carbon plated shoes is just the propulsion and that snappy feeling that you get. But I do think with super shoes, it's that combination of carbon plate with the super foams. So I think it's really the bouncy springiness, responsiveness of those foams, and then in combination with those carbon plates that just help propel you forward. So you have gone into some of these super shoes. I think it is kind of hard to wrap your head around, but the lots of engineering going into these shoes, lots of testing. So there's lots of dollars being pumped into designing them. So I think that has a large part to do with the cost. But as it's been shown in the project with Eliud Kipchoge for the sub 2, there are performance gains to be had with these shoes, especially when you do get a little bit quicker and are progressing in your times.
That is true. What I also found is, like you said, you don't really know until you've stepped foot in them. Is like people say, "Oh yeah, race shoe are awesome. Like I love race shoes, but are they worth the price?" If you step in them, you could kind of, and you start a workout in them, or you have a race in them, you could kind of tell that just the whole mechanics and, like you were saying, the engineering of it, totally different. Propels you forward. Even when you're standing, I find you're kind of rocking a little bit forward, and it's already trying to tilt you a little bit forward on the way the shoe is sitting just while you're standing. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool feeling. And I've never tried the Alpha Flies, but I can imagine those are even nicer.
No comment. I wouldn't know either.
Yeah, I was shocked the first carbon plated shoes that I tried on, just how stiff they were. And it makes sense for power transfer. It's the same thing in cycling, is kind of the costs increase with the stiffness of the carbon plate in the shoe, because it enables just so much more efficient power transfer. Now, the one thing that I think people should be aware of is that carbon plated shoes, because of the plates kind of flexibility over a long period of running, kind of once you put 180 200 kilometers on a carbon plated shoe, it really starts to lose some of its effect and that stiffness, and because of that they're less springy, and therefore you lose some performance. So it's not a shoe that you necessarily want to use all the time, because yeah, they do have a shorter lifespan than some of the other shoes we've mentioned.
Then you retire them and you send them into the daily trainer or speed work rotation. So it's not a total loss. You don't throw them right in the garb, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah, nothing like doing recovery runs with Alpha Flies. That's what I'm excited for.
So I've got a question. We've talked a lot about the different kind of shoes. And there's a sea of shoes that are available and lots of options. But why do I need a running shoe rotation? And what should that rotation look like?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing why I'm such an advocate for building out that rotation is just mainly around injury prevention and helping spread all of that distance that you're putting on your feet across multiple pairs helps distribute that impact over different muscle groups, reducing the risk of overuse injuries. And also, since you are using different shoes on different days, never going 2 days in a row with the same shoes, it also allows those foams to expand after your run. And then the next time you go to use those shoes, they're not just beaten down, so that they're able to actually absorb more of that impact that you're doing as you're hitting the pavement.
Also, you got to think of the more you use them, the more they're going to stink. So keeping that good rotation, you lower the bacteria, you keep them not only the foam breathing, but all that stench inside the shoe, you keep that breathing too. You could get the smells out and easier because you could let a pair dry while you use another pair. It's real nice.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, yeah, that's definitely a key point for me is the stink. Don't want that in the house. But I like the point of injury prevention and just the fact that, yeah, if you're using different shoes, your body's sort of like connected to the road in different ways. And because of that, you're not always stressing the exact same tendons, ligaments, and bones in the exact same way. Is there anything to do with kind of performance when we're talking about having a shoe rotation? Like, of course, using different shoes for different workouts, but can it really help make me faster?
Yeah, for sure. That's these shoes. Different shoes have been kind of designed for different purposes, from the foams, the ground feel, the weights of the shoes. Certain shoes like Hoka's that have that meta rocker, so just like how they actually ride on the pavement. So, kind of tailoring your running shoe rotation to the types of workouts and the types of things you're trying to do can definitely help with your performance. One, from a speed perspective, having a lighter, springier shoe can help you get more out of those speed workouts. So, get that extra little, let's say 1% of speed and effort can help you down the line. And I also think, in the opposite side, on recovery days, having a shoe that is maybe has a little bit more stability, cradles your foot a bit, a little bit more cushioning, maybe a little heavier, so that it makes you feel a little bit slower, helps you pull back on those recovery days, which I think also helps. So I think across the board, there's it can help you regardless of the type of run.
Geez, well, yeah, that's convincing. If you see me distracted on my other screen, it's because I'm just going to purchase some of your recommendations right now.
You got to do it up. You got to do it up. Another thing too is what you just referred to is buying a new pair also increases performance. Gets you fired up to get out there, get running, get some free miles out there. Like the other day, I just bought a new pair of shoes, got me out running, trying them out. It gets me excited again of running. It's a whole mental part of it too. You're not stuck in the same trance of, okay, you know, same task. I'm running these same shoes. These shoes are getting old. New shoes spice things up in life.
Ah, that's a good point. Wow, that's even more. There's all the reasons, all the stars are aligning for me.
You might as well buy two pairs.
Maybe three.
Heard it here first. That's nice. Yeah, maybe three.
But yeah, you're in that running store, and now we're trying to figure out exactly. It sounds like you maybe are getting convinced that you need more than two shoes in your absolutely beat up shoes in your running shoe rotation. So now, what are kind of the steps you need to take to make sure that the shoe you pick is a shoe you're going to absolutely love? We chatted about something about gait analysis in episode 8 on running form. So if you're really lost and are not too sure, or maybe have previous injuries from running shoes you have picked, this might be something that is good to consider to try to get an analysis of your running style. And even some running stores, I believe some of the running rooms do offer like a very simple gait analysis where like they'll get you on a treadmill and at least look at you quickly as they're trying to figure out what kind of running shoe you would be good suited for. So that is also an option. Some more of the specialty running stores do offer that.
Then you got to buy a pair of their shoes, though. You can't just get the analysis and run. That's exactly where I'm thinking. Get the analysis, go buy them online. Another thing is foot type. I love talking about feet. The different people's foot type is also very big consideration on picking your shoe. Some people got those wide toes, high arch, flat feet. It all depends on how your feet are built. Some shoes will be better for others. Some people say, oh, I live by Hoka's, I love them. Some people absolutely hate them, they can't run in them. So it really depends on how that shoe is built at those certain pinch points. So like, the toes, the arch, even the heel, and how even the around the ankle, how high they come up and stuff, and just different details to the shoe also have to do with how your foot is just built. It's built different.
Yeah, and that is such an important point is you need to get the shoe that's right for you. We can make all these recommendations, but at the end of the day, you need to be happy and your feet need to be happy running in them. Myself, for example, I have flat feet, and what that causes is the need for a wider midsole than some people, and even the race shoes that I picked up, because they're pretty narrow in the midsole, I feel like I'm kind of falling inward when I run with them. And that's cause for a little bit of concern. Of course, strengthening helps, but really being supported in the midsole is important for me. And it's something that I'm only just learning about now after I've made a few purchases and understand which shoes fit my feet a little bit better.
Yeah, and I'd say the last consideration, now that you know that your shoe kind of fits you well, it's comfortable, is just to think about your running goals. If you're out going to just kind of like slow recovery jogs, you're not really wanting to race or anything, you just kind of want to go out with friends, you definitely, I mean, by all means, if you want to buy Alpha Flies and just run in Alpha Flies, go for it. But you absolutely don't need that. And something kind of more budget friendly and simple will definitely be good for you. But just keep that in mind that kind of based on what you want to do, there's kind of different price budgets, and you don't necessarily need to be spending just because, Elliot Kipchoge told you to.
Yeah, that sounds very good. Now, if I were to buy a nice new pair of shoes or a few pair of shoes, how do I sort of transition into running into them so that I avoid injury? Because I know sometimes you introduce something new to your regiment and it can kind of screw you up, whether you get injured or something happens to you. That's something that I'm a little bit concerned about.
Yeah, this is similar to training your nutrition for endurance sports, is that you want that gradual introduction of the new thing, similar to how you wouldn't go out for a long ride or a race and just try to have 10 new gels that you've never done before. You want to start alternating between your old and new shoes over short distances, and then gradually increase the distance in the new shoes over a few weeks, I say is the best kind of general guidance there. If it is kind of more similar or a similar style shoe, probably fine to just jump right into it. But if it's kind of a change from your normal, don't jump into it too quickly, because that is how injuries can happen pretty quickly.
Yeah, makes sense. Now, on kind of day one, two, three of running with a new shoe, if my feet start getting sore, they're a little bit uncomfortable, what should I do? Should I just keep going through them and just accept that it's new shoes, so there probably are growing pains?
Yeah, this might be one where you definitely want to listen to your body and pay attention to how your legs and feet are feeling during and after that run. So if you have that discomfort, maybe you want to pull back and reduce your mileage just a little bit in the new shoes and adjust that transition plan. Maybe if you were doing 5 kilometers with the new ones, 10 kilometers with the old ones, and kind of rotating that, maybe you pull that back and do 4 and 11 or something like that. So that's a good way to go about it. And also just to kind of what parts of your legs and feet might be hurting. And maybe it's time to introduce some extra body work to reduce some of that pain, to strengthen some areas. And it might just be showcasing some weaknesses in your legs.
I also like looking at the terrain I'm going to be running on with those new shoes. Is, you don't want to do anything too uneven, too wonky, gravel, or even running in the dark if you're not used to it. Try to stay on those consistent, flat roads, either pavement or concrete, whatever you're usually used to running as well. Those like fine gravel, maybe soft surfaces would be good to try your shoes out in. Give yourself even more that cushiony stuff, but nothing too crazy. I think when you're transitioning shoes and getting yourself used to that new shoe and that new feel. So you take as many variables out of it as possible, and you think about what variables you're changing already.
Awesome. I think we've given Brian and our listeners a bunch of good information. If they're maybe on the fence about getting out that credit card and getting a new pair of shoes, gave them some good tips on the importance of a running shoe rotation. Now it's time to build your wacky running shoe rotation. Here are the categories. The workhorse, only allowed to pick one shoe to run in for the rest of your life. The bang for buck, dollar for dollar, this shoe is going to get the most when you're pinching pennies. And the last one, my favorite, the big spender. You get a lifetime of supply for free.
Frig, I love those. For me, workhorse, I'm going the Triumph 20s or 21s. Those are nice, cushiony shoes. They get you going. You could still put some speed on them. They're comfy. They're nice. Bang for buck, I'm going Hoka Cliftons. Can't go wrong with them. They're nice and cheap, and they last forever. I'm still riding on a pair of Clifton 8s. They're there forever. Big spender, I got the Saucony Pro 4s. Those are ready for speed, and they're ready to get PRs.
You're not even upgrading to the elites. Wow. That's a that's a funny big spender. What a guy.
I'm a moderate big spender, all right?
Well, I'm definitely gonna look into the Hoka Cliftons. That was a good sale there because I like a shoe that'll last forever. Okay, so for my rotation, my workhorse, one shoe for life, I'm going with the Fuel Cell Propels by New Balance. I love the shoe. It's crafted for everyday runs. It's one of the shoes that I first started running in, and it still is kicking to this day. So that's definitely a shoe that I plan to replace as I revamp my shoe wardrobe here. Bang for buck, I'm going with our first race shoe, Tyler. I'm going with the Hoka Carbon X3s because they are kind of the entry level carbon plated shoe. So if you're looking for that performance, you're looking to dip your toe in the water, I think that's your best bet to get a nice pair of carbon plated shoes for under $200. Most certainly, if you look at kind of a Marshalls, a Winners, you can sometimes get those for as cheap as $100 for carbon plated shoes. So yeah, that's how you can unlock performance for relatively cheap. And then my big spender, and here I'm going a little bit different than some of the stuff we've been talking about, but I am going with the Hoka Speed Goats, like the GTX Speed Goats. That is a trail runner shoe. They're pricey. I love being outdoors. Some of them come with Gore-Tex. So for me, especially in the winters here, it's nice to have a trail shoe. And if I could have a new trail shoe every year, call me a big spender.
Love it. That's a good lineup. For my for my workhorse, I am gonna take your bang for buck and the Hoka Clifton. That is my workhorse. That shoe, probably my favorite shoe to run in. I can run in it for long runs, for speed runs, for recovery runs, and to me, it all feels great. So I would be extremely happy if I could only run in the Cliftons for the rest of my life. The bang for buck, I'm going to pick the Saucony Kinvaras. Generally, I found this shoe for actually any of the Kinvaras I've ever owned, I've paid between $50 and $60. The longevity of Kinvaras is not insane. They don't have a ton of outsole, but for 50 to 60 bucks, you can't go wrong. And I absolutely love running in them. And the big spender. Since none of you guys took the bait, I got to pick it. My big spender is the Adizero Adios Pro Evo 1. At 500 buck price tag, the one-time use marathon racer. If I could do every single run every day of my life and chuck it in the garbage at the end of the day, that's the one I'm picking, without a doubt.
Oh, very true. I forgot about those. The one and Chuck.
Like these are a shoe that I don't know anything about. I don't even know that I've heard about them. Can you expand a little more?
All the marathon, they win in those. All the recent marathons.
Oh wow. Okay. And so this is kind of the new big dog in racing shoes.
Yeah, it's definitely like the biggest, basically designed for Adidas elites. About I think like 150, it might be more at this point, got released on the Adidas website. It's one of those shoes that got scooped up and now resale. You can probably pick it up for like $2,000. But yeah, nothing like tossing a pair of shoes straight in the garbage after a marathon. Walking across that finish line, don't
Wow.
even collect my medal, just shoes and garbage. On to the next.
I know you're joking because for an environmentally conscious man, that is wild for you to be saying. That's
Yeah,
hilarious.
these shoes are pretty ridiculous, but it's a wacky running shoe rotation, so I had to go there.
Oh, it's wacky. Yeah, that's like 42.3. Those things explode after they do 42.2. They're done.
Yeah, and they actually come like with a card inside the box that is essentially like these shoes are good to like get used to them, maybe like one short run and one race, and then they're no good. But they are,
Wow,
yeah,
that's
they're something
incredible.
like 140 grams or something. So there was decisions that were made.
Of course, yeah, they had to compromise, longevity for speed, which I mean, lots of race shoes kind of balance that as well.
And just to get their brand out there on all the marathon winners, I think is worth it. People will buy, the tier below or the tier even below that just to wear the Adidas. So I think great idea.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. I love the game. I think this is something that's going to have to come back, different games throughout some of these episodes. Thank you, Andrew.
Yeah, great idea.
So, so back at you. I heard you had a hot take for this week.
Oh, do I ever? And yeah, we're talking about running shoe rotations, and I think something that where running shoes are just out to get you. And I think maybe not, but I think it might have been Saucony that started it with their like speed line and all of these like they basically released a series of shoes where it's like purpose built this shoe, this shoe, this shoe, this shoe, and there's like five shoes in the rotation. These running shoe companies, this is similar to my nutrition hot take. The running shoe companies, it's all marketing and they're trying to get you to get all of their different shoes. A running shoe rotation, you don't need, five and one shoe that's very specific to one type of run. A lot of shoes are pretty good. I can see Tyler is not impressed because I just attacked his favorite shoe. A lot of shoes are very good all arounders, and you can have maybe three shoes, and that makes up a great running shoe rotation, and you don't need to go crazy with it, unlike what the running shoe companies are trying to make you do.
So you're telling me I got Skamaz.
No, there's nothing wrong with loving trying new shoes because I'm in the same boat, but I'm talking for the general person. The running shoe people are trying to trick you into buying more running shoes and niche little running shoes for specific purposes.
Yeah, I mean, I know that Andrew's not just saying that you got Skamaz because he gave me a look at his run and shoe closet, and I think he has you beat, Tyler. He might have you beat like 3 times over.
Oh, frig! I could imagine. I was gonna say I'm basically a one-off with the sock me's these days. I have every single, like you said, niche. Oh, use this one for a short run. Use this one for a speed workout. Use this one for a long run. I have those in sock me, but I could imagine Andrew's got me beat. But that's a good hot take.
Yeah, it's hilarious. Well, you talking about your Sauconys, it's not that you're sponsored by Saucony. You're sponsoring Saucony, you're giving them, enough
All my buck.
off, yeah, all your butt so they can go on some nice corporate retreats.
So what? You're telling me I should chuck those speeds in the garbage or what, Andrew? I actually broke my ankle, or no, sprained my ankle off those speeds. I haven't worn them since. They're pissing me off.
I mean, yeah, I think you just got your answer right there. If you give in to the speeds, they're gonna get you. They're gonna get those anks.
So, all right, let's hear. I know you gentlemen have a big race coming up this weekend. You must be excited. The body might be itching a little bit because you're in big taper mode for the Toronto Waterfront Marathon. But yeah, how are the nerves and how are the bodies?
The fitness is coming along. The taper is treating me well. The fatigue on the legs is coming down, although I'm just itching to run. So that's always the challenge is just kind of managing that like desire to just do the race. You feel so speedy and you're trying to not lose any fitness as you taper, but the body's good. How about you, Tyler? How you feeling?
I don't know if I'm gonna survive this. 2 tapers in 4 weeks. It's pretty tough. I feel like a sack of potatoes. I'm just waiting, itching to get out on the start line. But at the same time, kind of spooked that wall is going to hit me at that 20-mile mark. I think that's going to be the telltale sign right there. See if the legs are ready to go or not. So we'll see. I just do not want to bonk. Do not bonk.
Now tell me. we're on an episode about shoes. What's going to be on your feet on Sunday?
Oh frig, do people want to know what's going to be on my feet? I don't know. I had a few shoes in the rotation. I've been changing super shoes all. I'm doing the Endorphin Pro 4s. I really enjoyed them on my recent triathlon, not the Ironman because I had no pace there. The one before that, it was speedy. I like them, so I'm really excited for that. That.
And those are by Saucony. Is that right?
Oh
He's
yeah,
a slave.
I like them because
He's a
they.
slave to Saucony,
I'm a
baby.
Oh yeah, just give it to me. Just give it to me. I have to go with the Saucony. They're nice. I read up a lot on them for literally like 6 months. Really wanted them. The elites were a little bit out of my price range, so I decided to go with the Pro Fours instead. And I think they will last me a little longer, especially for after those big marathons as a shoe just in the rotation. I think they'll last me quite some time.
Very.
Andrew, are you gonna tell the fans what you're gonna be wearing?
Well, I said no comment earlier, but it will be the Alpha Fly threes that I'm running in. So that's the shoe of choice. I haven't actually ran in them yet. I'm doing my dress rehearsal run tonight. So that will be the first time my feet actually touch them. That's generally what I like to do. I kind of know Vaporflies did well on my feet. So if I really feel something that I don't like them, I can switch to the elites or the Vaporflies, worst case. But yeah, it will be the Alpha Fly threes. So those are the hopefully those are
Frig.
the trick. Third time's the charm to get that sub 245. So we're throwing it all at it, baby.
See, I knew something about the yellow. Tell me you got the yellow.
It's not yellow. It's pink and purple to
Ah,
match the BIM singlet, baby.
oh, those are
Oh yeah,
nice. Oh, I can't wait to see those. So you baited us with the elites. I thought for sure you were gonna run with the elites. You're kind of baiting us with the Saucony elites, and then you just drop the bomb on us.
those are just the baby brother, baby. And now the big brother is out to play. The big dogs, baby.
That's so exciting. I hope there's some good PRs in your futures. Now, I've got to ask, are the BIM singlets going to make an appearance on you two? Are you going to be matching in your team uniforms?
I am 100% wearing that BIM singlet. So you'll be seeing me running around the streets in that purple singlet. How about you, Tyler?
Oh, I'm hoping to wear that purple singlet. I just hope there's no snow on the day of, but yeah, I'm in for that purple singlet.
I really hope there's not. I hope there's not snow.
Yeah, then you might need to throw on the trail shoes, make sure that you got the grip going down, and I think that PR is going to kind of sail away in the snow.
Now, in other news, speaking of singlets, I hear that you and Mark are waiting for a special jersey to come in for your event this weekend.
Oh yeah, Mark and I we're racing Heck of the North this weekend in Stouffville. It's on Saturday, 80K bike ride. It's going to be wicked fast, but we don't yet have matching jerseys. I ordered them on AliExpress kind of at the beginning of the month, and it said that it would get here kind of the day or two before the race. So hopefully they show up and we can be some nice matchers. Maybe we'll throw a sticker of the BIM logo on just so that we have it. And I might put one on my bike as well. I think that would be real nice having the BIM sticker and logo on the bike. But the bike's getting tuned up. I've been meticulously cleaning it, taking off some parts, making sure that there's not a single watt going to waste on that.
What a freak. I'm excited to see how you guys do. It's going to be fun. I'm itching to get back out on the bike, let me tell you. I've been on the legs for too long. I'm amped up for those races that we were doing all winter long.
Me too. I think we're gonna have to do some nice content around it. Maybe even set up the live stream going for the Tune Up Tuesdays on a ongoing basis.
We might have to get someone bleeping out all the swear words because we'll be huffing and puffing, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's true. It might be an explicit stream, but don't worry. We have a great CTO, Mr. Tyler. He'll make sure that the tech is all set up so we can stream it properly.
I'll make an app for it. No worries.
Love it. Love to hear it. Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to see how big of a peloton we can get going this year. Because I feel like we're gonna get a couple new people coming in.
I think the Colombian boys will be in for a surprise. Maybe they're also ramping up the squad though. They're getting all their boys going. We're gonna be sweating. The Colombians versus the Canadians will have a team of like 12v12.
Yeah, well, we're racing on MyWoosh, right? And that platform has been plastered in advertising all over Tade's butt all Tour de
Exactly.
France. I saw it even at the World Championships where Tade Pogacar won. And yeah, MyWoosh logo is everywhere. And I've seen even some people who had never used it before starting to dive into it this fall. So who knows? The Tune Up Tuesdays might be a little tougher to podium this year.
Frig, don't tell me that. I'm gonna get depressed again. It's gonna be nice though. I was recruiting people up in Greater Canada. They call that Ottawa. I'm ready for a nice season of my whoosh.
Yeah, there's a lot to look forward to. I hope you guys have a great race weekend. I hope I have a great race weekend, and I'm excited to debrief all of these exciting events next week.
Yeah, should be good. And I'm excited to see how everyone does. And hopefully there's no mechanicals on the bikes and hopefully no bonks on the roads. So fingers crossed, fingers crossed. And on that note, thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Boys in Motion podcast. We hope you found our tips on running shoes and building a rotation helpful for your next endurance training cycle. And remember, the right shoe can take you far, but the perfect rotation can take you even further.
Wow, couldn't have said it any better myself, sir. Don't forget, follow us on Instagram, Tink Tonk, YouTube, join our Strava Club for some amazing, immaculate, crazy content. Subscribe to our podcast, Spotify, Apple Music, Apple Podcasts.
Thank you, Tyler. That was perfect. And just remember, folks, we just want to remind you we're not medical professionals. The advice and tips that we're sharing are based on our experiences and all of our research. But do consult with a professional healthcare provider before you make significant changes to your routine, your life, and even your equipment.
Keep moving, stay motivated, and lace up for success because the right shoes just might make you fly. We'll see you next time on the Boys in Motion.